Chalkface Love Songs is produced by Beatty Rubens.
I know Nicholas is a bit sensitive about his age, but wouldn't you be if you were 96?
Sunday lunchtime comedy on BBC Radio 4.
Jenny, you've challenged.
It's for his own good. Just a minute, quote unquote, and I'm sorry I haven't a clue.
Graham was talking when the whistle went, so you lose 10 points. I've never heard such a melodious moan in my life.
Oh, Nicholas, you must have done, surely.
Comedy every Sunday lunchtime at midday on BBC Radio 4.
Well, after the 9 o'clock news this evening, you can hear the second episode of our classic serial, The Woman in White, by Wilkie Collins, a story that's been described as one of the most exciting and dramatic of all Victorian novels. Walter is deeply puzzled by a number of strange coincidences and discovers on his return to London that he's been followed by two strange men. Episode 2 of The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins after the 9 o'clock news.
BBC Radio 4, the news at 8 o'clock. Northern Alliance commanders say they expect the remaining Taliban in the northern Afghan city of Kunduz to surrender tomorrow. Faced with an all-out assault, thousands of Taliban fighters gave themselves up during the day. Among them were hundreds of foreign fighters from Pakistan. The Foreign Secretary Jack Straw has lodged a formal protest with Zimbabwe for threatening to treat a number of journalists as terrorists. Some of them work for British newspapers. Mr. Straw said he was profoundly concerned by the threat. Here's our diplomatic correspondent, James Robbins.
In its latest attempt to stifle independent reporting, President Mugabe's government has accused at least 6 journalists in Harare of siding with the opposition and assisting terrorists. A government spokesman said that meant the journalists might themselves be treated as terrorists. The reporters threatened include correspondents for The Guardian, The Independent, The Telegraph and The Times. Correspondents for BBC News have been banned from Zimbabwe since July. The Foreign Secretary Jack Straw says he's profoundly concerned and that Zimbabwe is in clear breach of the Abuja Agreement made in September, when it committed itself to freedom of expression.
One Israeli civilian is reported to have been killed and another wounded in a Palestinian mortar attack on a Jewish settlement in the Gaza Strip. The attack came a day after a leading member of the militant Islamic group Hamas was killed in an Israeli army helicopter attack near Nablus in the West Bank. The Network Q Rally of Great Britain restarted in Cardiff this evening after a crash led to 2 stages in West Wales being scrapped. 12 spectators were injured when the Spanish driver Carlos Sainz came off the road in the Brecua forest. One person was taken to hospital in an air ambulance with serious head injuries. Police investigating the explosion of a car in the Kings Heath area of Birmingham last night have appealed for witnesses. No one was hurt. It's thought the Peugeot 309 was rigged with a propane gas canister. Detectives are linking the attack to serious crime rather than terrorism. BBC Radio 4 News.
It's 2 minutes past 8, and now here's James Naughty with a special edition of Book Club.